and gentlemen, we have a special guest tonight that will be a part of the GodzillNerds 1954 podcast. It's almost like a reverse role thing because I was a part of his podcast called The Monster Report. Awesome podcast. But we got a special guest. He's a podcaster, right? He's a YouTuber. He loves kaiju. He loves kaiju, and he loves more kaiju. So give it up for our special guest, Mr. Nick Adam.
Hello, Godzilla nerds.
Woo!
Good to be among my people, the Godzilla nerds.
Good to have you here, sir.
How are you doing? First of all, Nick, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
Everything's going real great. Just trying to crank out some content for the channel, enjoying some kaiju stuff. There's all kinds of cool stuff going on, cool stuff to collect. It's burning a hole in my wallet, but enjoying every minute of it.
As it does for all of us, Nick. As it does for all of us.
That's right. So,
Nick,
I wanted to.
My parents' wallet, of course. No, you can buy that.
Let's see who we have. We have
Godzilla Train's here.
Godzilla Train 1090. How are you, brother?
What
How
up,
you
brother?
doing? Good to see you here. But yes, today is going to be an awesome show. And Nick, before me and Remy get into some of these questions, we want to test your skills and test your knowledge. We're going to give you just a few questions just to see where you're at. So we're not gonna go too hard on you. We take it easy on you. So the first question we got to get into is more like a speed run. Okay, if you could be one Titan for a day, which Titan would you be? Would you be Space Godzilla or would you be Kiryu?
I'd be Kiryu.
Okay. If you could watch one of the films, the other cannot exist. You can only pick one. If you pick one, the other cannot exist. Would you pick the 1954 original Godzilla film or Peter Jackson's 2005 King Kong film?
Original Godzilla.
Yeah,
definitely.
All right. Last question, or maybe two or three more. If you could, how can I put this? If you wanted to watch a battle between Gamera and Godzilla, who wins?
It's Godzilla all the way.
You gotta give some points to the giant turtle, though, right, Nick?
I'll give some points, but Godzilla's got it. I mean,
yeah, I guess
the original Godzilla is the original is the king of the monsters. I gotta stick by my boy.
All right. List these Titans from least to greatest.
Okay.
Gamera, Destroyer, and King Ghidorah.
Ooh. That was a good one right there.
All right. Wow.
And from least to greatest, too.
Least to greatest, I'd go.
Yeah, least to greatest.
I would actually put King Ghidorah on the low end because he just keeps getting defeated, honestly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
He actually does get defeated. And I would put Destroyer next and Gamera at the top because Gamera wins. I mean, he's been defeated a few times that I can remember, but for the most part,
I really count those. Defeats more like retreats, I guess, because he kind of retreats and then he comes back for a second round.
That's a pretty interesting ranking, Nick. I like it. Yeah. Different, transparent.
I didn't expect King Ghidorah to be put down on the bottom. Also, but it's King Ghidorah though.
We do have DJ.
DJ,
how you doing?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Another member of the Godzilla Nerds.
Yeah,
and we're doing well, by the way, Godzilla Train. We're doing pretty good. Well, Nick, we got you on. We stole you for an hour, basically. So we have your full invited attention. I want to say, first of all, it's an honor having you on. We're grateful that you could be on, and we thank you for that. And we thank you for the positive energy, the positive attitude. So we are grateful to have you on. With that being said, the real question begins. And the first question I would like to ask you, Mr. Nick Adam, which kaiju film or films got you into becoming a kaiju fan?
Okay, yeah, I've got a story to go with that. And first of all, it's an honor to be here too. I'm really excited. I've loved your show and everything that you do, and your crew is awesome. And I think a kaiju community is the best thing in the world because we can all come together. We can agree, we can disagree, but we could all be friends in the end because, we all love the giant monsters and the rubber suits and the CGI and the comics and the music and everything that goes along with kaiju. So I imagine you'll take my results and you'll put some psychological profile together based on those bizarre answers I probably gave, right?
No.
We love you, Nick.
You hit it right in the head right there, Nick. That's basically what it is.
Okay. The one that got me into the kaiju universe was Godzilla 1985. I did get to see it as a kid on not the big screen, but on the small screen. It was on television, and we rented it from the movie store, the rental video store. But you guys are too young to remember. Maybe not Don. I don't know. You probably remember the video rental store, but Remy saying
Blockbuster, Hollywood.
Yeah, Blockbuster for me.
Okay, yeah, they still existed then. So yeah, it was 1985. That was the film, and just remember seeing it and how just realistic he looked and how the lips curled and all that. And I'd always heard of Godzilla, and there was a lot of parodies, of Godzilla. I remember like in the other cartoons and things that would kind of parody what a Godzilla movie was, what a giant monster movie would be like and all that. And it was like, kind of almost a joke. And then when I saw it, as a 4 or 5 year old kid, it was like, well, this is, something I can really take seriously. And, because all the cast members, all the crew and in this movie, the characters are taking it seriously. And that was definitely one of the movies that got me into it. Then I went back to the video store. They had Godzilla vs. Gigan and Mechagodzilla 1985, and they had the Gamera series, the Celebrity Kids VHS tapes of 5 Gamera films, and the Sandy Frank versions of those Gamera films, and so that was a decent video store for kaiju fan. They also had Rodan and Gorgo and Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah, so I started getting into some classic monsters, and it just kind of evolved from there. Love monsters of all kinds, but when it all comes down to it, given the choice, I always return back to my big boy, the Big G.
Yeah, and you know what? I will say this, Nick. The 1985 is a great introduction, a great kaiju film to start with. Just as a Godzilla fan, he's in this film by himself, and I think the movie just focuses and centers on him really, really well. And this is actually a movie I refer to a lot of new Godzilla fans who wants to go back and revisit Godzilla and know the history of Godzilla. Godzilla Train has something for you. He said, great first movie, Nick, and that I can agree. Remy, what do you have for Mr. Nick, sir?
The question we have here for you, Nick, is what is your favorite kaiju accessory or figure you own, per se?
Ooh. The figure that I own that would be my new favorite, because I've done a lot of collecting, a lot of box days, and it always seems to be that whatever's the latest is kind of the greatest. So Megalon, the figure of the year,
that's awesome.
X Plus, yes, the 30 centimeter is truly beautiful for a big old bug with a star head and pointy fingers, but
it makes sense.
It is so movie accurate. It's just, and I watched Megalon, watched the heck out of Megalon, and I've explained this in my review that it was one that I rewatched a lot. That VHS tape got worn out, the one with Godzilla and Megalon on the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, and it was like,
I remember that poster.
Yeah,
that was like, what?
Yeah, and it was a terrible picture quality VHS, but it had 4 kaiju in it. I mean, 3 kaiju and 1 mech, if you want to call it cyborg in the Jet Jaguar. But I remember seeing there was a dinosaur documentary that was on like Discovery Channel or something, and it had a trailer for Godzilla versus Megalon, and it had Jet Jaguar, and he was picking up Megalon for the horizontal kick that Godzilla does with the double feet there, and it was like, I've never seen this movie. Now I have to see it. I have to find it because that was awesome. And I was actually fooled because there was no internet then, and I remember seeing Jet Jaguar in it, and they didn't name him in this little trailer that they had in that documentary. But I had heard about Ultraman, and there was that Australian Ultraman series called Towards the Future that was on TV actually at that time. And so I thought it was a version of Ultraman when I first saw it. But until I saw the movie, then I heard his name was Jet Jaguar, and I was a little bit disappointed because I was really hoping that Ultraman and Godzilla had a crossover. But that was cool, still ended up loving Jet Jaguar, picked up the Mondo figure. He came in yesterday, and be doing a review on him too in the not too distant future. But yeah, that Megalon is definitely one I just keep looking back at because it's just such a well put together X Plus.
Well, X Plus is out of the park.
Go ahead, Remy. Go ahead, Remy.
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay, you fine.
Yeah, no, but what I was gonna say is that X Plus knocks out of the park almost every figure or statue they release. Like I look at those figures, I'm like, wow, that's absolutely beautiful. I want to get one. Then I look at the price range, and I'm like, you know what? I'm good. Never mind.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'll say this. I watched your box day of the Megalon actually on your YouTube channel, and that Megalon figure is, it is down to a T. Very accurate, very detailed. It is perfect. And Remy, you know the story. I talk about Megalon all the time. Because he shot that bomb and Jet Jaguar threw it back in his mouth. Every time I think about Megalon, that's the first thought I have because I was like, okay, that didn't work. And he blew himself up basically. But Nick, I do want to say right here is Godzilla Train. He said, yes, the reigning X Plus figure of the year. Such a great figure. And he has a Facebook group, and I'm not sure if you guys follow each other, but he has a Facebook group and a YouTube channel, and it's called Kaiju Collectors. And they have box days all the time. They have shows all the time. And what made me think of them is you have that Megalon. And I know you have a lot of box days, a ton of box days that I know they'll enjoy. So you guys link up, you guys hook up because you will really like them. And let's see, DJ here says, Godzilla versus Megalon was my first official Godzilla movie on VHS too. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, so it was a great VHS tape. There was lots of them too. There were tons and tons of companies that put out a VHS tape of Megalon because I think at one time they thought it was in the public domain, and that's why MST3K even did their version of that because they thought it was in the public domain that they could do their riffing on it, but it was truly not. It had the rights, but at that time, again, how were they to discover that someone was putting out these copies out there and profiting off of it. So yeah, that's why there's a bunch of those out there. And Sea Monster, same way, same kind of story with that. Thought it was in the public domain. Definitely not. But isn't it beautiful? We have that Blu-ray now that looks just awesome. If you came from the VHS days and saw it all narrowed down and with that poor picture quality, and there were shots that were cut short too. Now you've got it the way it was meant to be seen. It's such an awesome they put out, and a lot of the Blu-rays that are coming out is that how they restore those original prints and preserve them, and now we can see how the fight was meant to be, which is really cool to see now.
Yeah.
And the VHS has the nostalgia, but the Blu-ray has like the better experience, the better feel. So
That's
now
right.
you can, like you said, Nick, you can really see what's going on. Shots that we didn't see or that was cut short, we're now able to see in great quality form as well. Having that Blu-ray, having that 4K. So that really helps out. That really helps out a lot. So you made some really good points, but that Megalon figure, that's awesome. That is really awesome. Question 3. Now I'm gonna love this one. Remy's gonna love this one as well. So, Nick, you have this thing with monster trailers, okay? And I had a chance to go back and watch a lot of your trailers. Some are monster trailers, some of them are not, but they're pretty cool trailers, right? I saw the Pacific Rim. I love that one. My favorite so far was the Jurassic Park. Now that one was awesome.
Yeah,
I love the Jurassic Park. You even had the Gremlins, right?
Yeah.
And you had the Grinch. You had the Grinch as well.
Oh my goodness,
So
I forgot.
yeah. Remy, he did a Grinch trailer. It was awesome.
I gotta
really,
watch
really
these
awesome.
then afterwards. I gotta see these, especially the Grinch and like Grinch. What the
It's
hell?
not the Christmas. It's not the Christmas Grinch though. It's the Halloween special that they did called "It's Grinch Night."
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, it's a really bizarre, children's animation.
Yeah.
So if you remember,
I've seen that scene of the one where he opens up the crate and all hell just breaks loose, and I'm like, what am I looking at right now? It's awesome. I love it, but what the hell?
Yeah. There was a time that I was doing them for, kind of do a Halloween marathon with a bunch of them, putting them all out in October, doing one a day for all of October. And I was like, what did I watch as a kid during Halloween? And so that one, I was like, oh yeah, that one. And then the like Sleepy Hollow, Ichabod Crane, trailer, not the old cartoon, not the Johnny Depp. The Disney one. And thinking about like other stuff that I watched as a kid, like during Halloween. Do you remember Ernest Scared Stupid? That was another Halloween kind of theme movie that eventually I'll probably do. But there's tons of monster movies out there, so the world, the sky's the limit.
I think you should do a trailer for the American Werewolf in London. I feel like that would be a really cool trailer.
That would be good. Yes,
I love that movie.
That would be really, really cool. And Remy, when you get a chance to check out the monster trailers, they have a certain tone and feel to them. And I think for me, the tone is what catches my attention, because you see, a lot of people who does trailer remakes and the tone is either hit or miss. But Nick, with your videos, it's the tone for me. And I'm really, really big on tone when I'm creating a video. I want to be able to capture the audience within the first 5 to 10 seconds, especially with doing a video like that. And I think you do that perfectly. So what I wanted to ask you is kind of 2 questions in one. The first question is, well, it's 3 questions. So we're going to go slow here. What got you into doing the monster remake trailers?
Yeah.
Like, where did that passion come from?
That actually came from, I'll give credit to Screen Junkies for doing honest trailers. I was a big fan of Screen Junkies, the movie fights, Andy Signor, Dan Murrell, the classic before everything kind of blew up, with the being, with Andy Signor being fired, and now he's got his own YouTube channel doing his own thing separate from them. But they did honest trailers, and I thought they were so just fun. CinemaSins is also fun. Everything wrong with, but I didn't want to go down that path because he's already done it and he does it well. How it should have ended is kind of another inspiration, but it was really the honest trailers that was like, they're doing a version of the trailer that is dead serious, honest with you, comedically honest with you. And I was like, but I kind of like doing serious trailers. So what if we were to take some of the classic films, the classic Godzilla films, and make them updated as far as the trailer to see what they might look like today if they were produced today with that kind of Inception, Dark Knight, very serious kind of trailer feel to them. But then as I was going along, I figured maybe every once in a while I might do a comedic trailer. So that's why you have Final Wars in the style of a vintage look to it, or a vintage look for GVK with the audio from the 1962 King Kong versus Godzilla trailer.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, or Peter Jackson's 05 Kong, using the audio from the 31 or 33 film, the classic 30s Kong trailer, which was actually that audio was from a trailer that was like a re-release of King Kong. So that was just fun, honestly. And those were the trailers that were honestly the easiest to put together because the trailer audio was laid out for me, and all I had to do was insert scenes and do some filtering. So that was kind of fun to do. Adding grit and grime and scratches and dust particles and things like that. That's just kind of fun for me to do. So doing those vintage looks to the trailers was a lot of fun. But yeah, I wanted to take like starting with the original Gojira and then pulling lines out of it and saying, yeah, what would this look like, in a modern way? What lines might be spoken? So there was a lot of the Raymond Burr lines. There was, the Dr. Serizawa, and Akira Takarada's lines that were being spoken in that trailer to kind of just tell the story in a sense and get excitement built for this old black and white movie, that we all love as Godzilla fans, but maybe that trailer might spark a new Godzilla fan to see it and be like, this actually looks pretty cool. I might want to check out this Godzilla thing, and especially the classic Godzilla and the Japanese Godzillas. They've been exposed to the legendary pictures. That's great too, but that's a gateway to get them to the to the Japanese original Big G.
It's just another option for them to look at to go, I might check that out.
Let's see. Godzilla Train, he says, I'm gonna have to dig into your channel, Nick. That sounds like a fun watch, man. Godzilla Train, I'm telling you, man, he has some awesome content. He's got tons of trailers that are really, really awesome. I was surprised to see that you had the Gremlins on there. That was unique. That was really, really unique, and that was awesome. So the next two questions I have does tie into this. So out of all the fan-made trailers you've created, what's your favorite? And how long does the process take for you to generally create a fan-made trailer?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Last question first. It depends on how much I want to put into it. I have spent sometimes an entire week editing together a trailer just because I'll rework it and look at it and look at it and look at it. And it gets to the point where I've said there's something not working here and I might throw it all out and start again. But the nice thing, it's all digital because you just hit the delete button and start again, or maybe put that one aside, go do something else, come back to it. So sometimes they've taken weeks. Others have maybe taken about a day to put together. And so like there's the ones that I really feel like, man, they hit well and the view count was decent. And then there's the ones that were kind of like, put some effort into it. I feel like I didn't really maybe spend as much time with it, but I enjoyed it.
Like insane. And you're like, what?
Yeah, that one hit for some reason. Yeah. I don't know why, but
I agree with that because I used to do like little fake movie trailers as well for King of Monsters when it was coming out. So I used to like compile that too on my Instagram. Like if you go back and look at some of the other videos I did that one time. And I was like, I put this great effort in this trailer. I hope it gets a lot of views. I got like 20 views. I was like, what the like what? Come on, people. I tried. And like I just put like a random edit together and it has like 6,000 views. I'm like, oh, really? Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's thankless. It's thankless. You just you're glad anyone enjoyed it. Even a couple of hundred people enjoyed it. That's great. A couple of people enjoyed it. A few friends around the dining room table watched it on their phones, and that's great too. I'm happy with that. But yeah, it was fun because it's like people are doing this anyways, and I'm like maybe I could incorporate kind of how the Honest Trailers did that, but I don't have their budget. I don't have their resources, and I don't have the epic voice guy, doing the inner world or anything like that. So, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it myself either. So I just didn't feel comfortable in that. I was, the movies, if they have a voice track, trailers do that too. They just use the audio from they don't have to have a narration. So as far as my favorite one that I put together, there's a lot that I kind of look back on. It's like, man, yeah, that one, really hit the marks. But The Host, the Korean 2000, I want to say it was like 2006 2010, 2006. Okay, yeah. The host, Bong Joon-ho, he was.
That's what we're reviewing tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what we're reviewing tomorrow.
Excellent. Yeah. Check out the trailer if you have the chance. So,
yeah, definitely then.
Yeah, that one was one where I felt like it had a. I always try to get royalty-free music, copyright-free music, so I'm not claimed. I've gotten claimed for other stuff too, but it happens. Haven't had any takedowns. But as far as like claiming it, okay, whatever. It's on the channel, and if it brings someone some joy, and maybe they check out some of my other stuff that is monetized, that's great too. But as far as like the host, it was one of those kind of rare movies that hit all the marks for me. It had its comedy, it had the seriousness, had some decent visual effects for the time and for the budget, and I was just like, man, I'm really liking this movie. And it had some things that were going on in it that are kind of relevant today, because it had the whole virus and people wearing masks and sanitizing things going on. So I was like, actually, this is an interesting time capsule of a time before what we're dealing with now. And so to kind of bring it back and be like, yeah, we were so worried about a monster spreading a virus, which, spoiler alert, there was no virus. But anyways, so it was like, seeing that it wasn't just the monster itself, it was what the monster was doing. It was spreading around a virus, as well as it was stalking people, and it started capturing people and bringing them into the sewers and all of that. So, but that audio track that I was able to find and pair it with the footage, I felt like it hit all the marks. And so, because it had the female vocalist in there, and it was talking about don't leave me hanging on, and because it's a rescue effort of the father trying to get the daughter, and so and doing whatever he has to do, going out of his way to find her in this unknown area, and up against something he's never had the experience. None of us have had the experience with. So it was a just such a cool trailer to put together, and I'm happy with anyone who watches it. But it was one that if it brings people to see the rare, largely unknown film, then I'm happy with it, because it's such a cool experience to see that film.
I will say this, Nick, I was listening to you the whole time, and like I was telling you, Remy, just based off the information that Nick gave us, that's exactly how he creates his trailers, because the tone is what catches my attention, right? I mean, just from the beginning, you're interested. And that's what I love about it. And then, Nick, you also have a cool name that's on display, like Nick Adam. You got like a superhero name, but he's not. It's like a superhero in disguise. Like, you got Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne. His name is Nick Adam. So that's really, really cool. That's another. I really pay attention to detail. Let's see. Godzilla Train said it'd be like that for us content creators. It's crazy. My most popular videos are my old, not really edited ones. It makes no sense.
Exactly. It doesn't. What? Why that one though?
We have a Facebook user, Nick. Hey, guess what is this madness?
Hello, Facebook user.
I'm not sure who you are, but hello, whoever you are. And Remy, what do you have for us, sir?
Another question we have for you, Nick, is, I think you're gonna like this one too. Rank your favorite MonsterVerse films from least to greatest, and if you could direct a monster flick, or if you could direct your own Godzilla movie, what would you have it be about, and how would you go on creating it?
Okay, so first, least to greatest, MonsterVerse, and then if I were to do my own MonsterVerse in the canon
Godzilla movie in general.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, I got that one. We'll get to the MonsterVerse first. So least to greatest. I'd probably put, and this, it's never going to be popular it's going to be unpopular regardless, because one of these has to be on the bottom of the list. So I would put at the bottom of the list the Kong Skull Island, just because of rewatchability. I like it. Don't get me wrong. and I did a trailer for it, and I love that trailer too. So it was
that was awesome. I saw that.
Well, thank you.
These trailers, I'm like wondering, like, what is it in there? I want to see. You check some of them out afterwards.
Okay, but I just find that rewatchability for that one is just not high on my list. I still like it. I find myself, that's how I rank a lot of things, is rewatchability. How many times do I watch it over and over and over again? So, that's why I might put in my Godzilla list of things Megalon quite high up there because of its rewatchability. Right. But as far as the quality of kaiju content and all of that, it's maybe not on everyone's high list of things like that. So you might say All Monsters Attack is on the low end of things. Yes, in it too, but I do find a lot of rewatchability because I can watch it with my kids. So there's that to look at. So Kong Skull Island being on the low end of things, I would put 2019 King of the Monsters next, and because I actually have a special place in my heart for 2014. But GVK is at the top actually because I love rewatching GVK because it's just so fun, and I know it's silly, but it just hit all the marks for me, and maybe with the exception of the music because I actually really like the music of 2019. I love King of the Monsters music. That soundtrack, if you were to rate the soundtracks, it's at the top for me.
Oh, yeah. Hands down. That soundtrack out of all of them.
Yeah. But for 2014, I guess for me, the special place on my heart for it is because, I did that video in 2014 when Gareth Edwards asked fans to make their own fan films and make it look like Godzilla was in your hometown. And so I had students that were, were kind of like little kaiju fans in the works. And so we all got together and said, let's do this. Let's see what we can put together because we can make him look like he's actually in the sky. And cool. That was one of the one viral video I've had. Only one. And if Legendary Pictures hadn't retweeted it, it might have just been, kind of disappeared into the ether of the internet. But Legendary Pictures, I actually didn't even know it. Honestly, a friend of mine, Baron Christopher, who is a good friend of mine and here in Indiana, had mentioned, dude, did you know Legendary retweeted your video? And I was like, no, that's not right. And then I wasn't even on Twitter at that time, so I checked it out and I was like, oh, they did. That's pretty awesome. And so the views just went nuts after that point, obviously with their name behind it. So it was like, okay, I've got something going here because that was one of my early shows or early episodes, actually, that videos that I'd posted. So that kind of really shot me in the arm to do more content and keep going with this. So anyways, with that out of the way, it was like... So that's why 2014, and I love Gareth Edwards' style. I like the movie Monsters. Yeah, Rogue One, big fan of that. And
the opposites. I'm kidding.
You didn't like Rogue One, or
no? I liked Rogue One fine. I wasn't a huge Star Wars fan, but in terms of Gareth Edwards' style, I'm kind of iffy on it. Sometimes it can work, and sometimes I'm just like, I changed that a little bit. But again, everybody has their different tastes. For me, I prefer King of the Monsters over 2014, but 2014 still holds a special place in my heart because it was the very first Godzilla movie I saw in theaters because I never got a chance to do that. And so seeing that on the big screen, Godzilla finally making his rightful American debut, not that 98 bull crap that we got, an actual Godzilla movie, I was like, clarity, finally.
And Nick, before you answer that next question that Remy had gave you, the one thing I'll say about Godzilla versus Kong, and I love the film. I'm fine with it being anybody's number one. And I know a lot of people call it silly, but just imagine Godzilla and King Kong not being the figures that they were. It would really, really be really silly to see a monster like Godzilla fight Kong, but because of their legendary status, it makes sense, right? It's silly, it's fun, but it makes sense because of their names and because what they mean to, a lot of the fan base. And so I think that's what really, really makes that cool. You'll like this, Nick. This is the guy.
Everett.
What's up, Everett?
Everett, good to have you. He's got a great channel too. Check him out.
Yes, he does. He does.
Oh shoot! Monsters
for doing videos.
Monstrosities.
Monstrosities. Wow.
Awesome.
Oh, hi guys.
Wow.
He's got a great channel too.
Monstrosities has a really good channel. Wow.
Thanks for that. And Quarter Meter fellow Hoosier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's in good old Indiana. Great. Yeah, I'm on the East Central side near Muncie, Ball State University, where David Letterman went, where they didn't film but set the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Great Steven Spielberg movie set in Muncie, but it definitely wasn't filmed there. So I'm in that area of Indiana.
Nice.
And what was that second question you had for Nick and me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you could make your own Godzilla movie, what would it be about, and how would you do it, or how would you direct it? I guess
this is actually something I have thought about and never spoken about. So this is an exclusive for you guys. And I'll say it will never get made because anything close like to this will be made. I'll say that so that later I can be proven wrong and someone can actually make it. Hollywood, if you're listening, I would love to see this film made, and if it were me doing it, that'd be fantastic. Directing it, calling action and cut and all that. But to see when you see film. Not documentaries, but docudramas where you see, a story that's based on real life events. And so, take any of the Hollywood, characters that have had films about filmmaking. And so taking, like the Aviator, the story of Howard Hughes with Leonardo DiCaprio, things like that. Or, talking about Charlie Chaplin doing films about him.
Hollywood-esque kind of.
I'm sorry, say again?
Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood kind of?
Yes, yeah. So a Hollywood story, but a Toho story of the old days of filmmaking. Toho having Japanese actors playing the Japanese filmmakers, Ishiro Honda, Akira Takarada, Mr. Nakajima, seeing the process of filmmaking, getting Eiji Tsuburaya and his crew and his team to create the Godzilla suit, Akira Fukabe to do the music, and having that played out in a film, which, is everything was against, them doing this because, so many things that could have happened, could have went wrong with this film, didn't. And it ended up hitting all the marks for a great kaiju film that became an icon. And so seeing that as a film and even going into dream sequences, because we want to get some action, going into dream sequences of the screenwriters, of Ishiro Honda, of having them imagine what a large monster roaming through the city streets of Tokyo would look like, or seeing, Tomoyuki Tanaka when he was talking about a great sea monster coming out of the ocean. And because that's where his concept of that came from, was when he was on a flight coming back from Indonesia, and he, had to come up with his idea for the next film. And he thought, what would it be like if a sea monster rose out of this ocean that I'm flying over? And so that idea of from concept to reality, and also bringing in some of the history of what was happening in Japan, the Lucky Dragon #5 incident, if you're familiar with that, the fishing boats that came too close to the Bikini Atoll and, in the Marshall Islands, and that story, how it's, I've always described it like this, that whole story is like if we were to make a 9/11 film 6 months after 9/11 happened, it's too soon. But that happened in Japan. This disaster happened. Yes, there was only one victim in the Lucky Dragon #5 incident, but it was, one victim too many for, a terrible accident that happened to them. And, but, it would be like that. It's so close to home for the only nation that has had to endure, the devastation of nuclear war, essentially, not essentially. in reality. So seeing how that plays into making a film that becomes this synthesis of what happened in history to reality and becoming an entertaining creature that's really brought a lot of commerce and this huge just new way of putting together, what do I want to say, a series of films, a new hero in a sense, actually, for Japan and for Toho, to have something that was a just a real moneymaker for them and really put them on the map in a worldwide sort of way. And it wasn't a samurai film, which the samurai films were great, especially, the ones you see from, why am I blanking on his name? Kurosawa, yeah. So it was like, those were making international acclaim, but maybe not as much money was coming in. But Godzilla really put them on the map in the entertainment world. So seeing how that happened, telling the story of Ishiro Honda and all of the filmmakers putting this together, I would love to see that film. Sorry, that was a long drawn out sort of.
No, that's fine. No, this is like your episode, so we're you're fine.
We stole you. We kidnapped you for an hour. We stole you. So we let's see what we have.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
Awesome idea. I love that. To piggyback off what Godzilla Train said, Monster Strike said they. Yep.
Emergency concept and execution, though. Your idea is 100% better. Give money, Hollywood. Wow.
I haven't seen Nezra. I'll have to check that out. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll vouch for you, Nick Adam.
But that itself is a really cool idea, because usually when you ask somebody like, what would you do if you made your own Godzilla movie, and it like literally tackles a new Godzilla storyline and stuff like that. But for you to actually take it from like the building blocks and make it about the history and the backstory of how these guys came together and created such a worldwide phenomenon, like that would be a really interesting story, because we could get some backstory on them, and it can introduce like maybe new facts we never knew about these guys to G fans who thought they knew everything. Like, oh, I didn't know that part about them. And like they could like really kind of dramatize it. And I do like your idea of the dream sequences to put some action in there. Like, to me, when you said imagine the sea monster coming out, I think it'd be cool if we like had a bird's eye view of like something that looks similar to like the Radosaurus coming out of the water and like roaring towards the plane. Like that would be kind of cool, because that it would be again hindering back to the Beast in 20,000 Fathoms being one of the inspirations for Godzilla alongside King Kong. So yeah, I really do enjoy your idea, and I really think that if I know, like you said, it may not be ever made, but if somebody was to hear this idea and go, yeah, we could probably run with that. Like, I feel like they could go off of some of your concepts.
And maybe it didn't happen. Maybe it didn't happen that way. The some of the things will have to be like in any kind of great history film about a real life story. Things get embellished, but the dream sequences where, like that, this a monster coming out of the water and then it attacks the plane, and that's when they do the jump scare, wake up and jot that down. That was a good idea.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that.
That was awesome. Yeah, Nick, you're gonna do it, and your idea is here, it's live, so nobody can steal your idea. We got the date we did this episode. We got the time it happened, so we got your back, brother. But I do want to mention this to you, Nick. Obviously, we're all podcasters, and because of the social media that we have today, we're allowed to spread the word, right? We're allowed to get the kaiju word out. We're allowed to show off our kaiju figures, talk about our favorite movies, promote movies, even bring our friends aboard on the mission and the journey that we're doing. So I have a few questions for you. What was it like growing up, right, being a kaiju fan? Did you kind of have to hide it, or were you more open with it? Did you hang around people that was more supportive? And also, what made you want to get into podcasting and talk about all different types of kaiju?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the brief history as far as childhood growing up being a Godzilla fan. Yeah, I was definitely a geek in school. I wore that on my shoulder. I didn't care. I mean, I didn't mind. Yeah, I got the the so-called popular kids, hey, there's Godzilla or whatever. Or I was into all the geeky stuff, Star Trek, Star Wars, Godzilla, so anything sci-fi, loved it. But it's interesting, it was also a big Marvel fan. And if I were 12 years old today, watching what Marvel has been cranking out, I'd be in heaven. But that time for me has kind of come and gone. And now it's cool to be a fan of those intellectual properties, IPs. So it's kind of, a little bit flipped on its head. And then Godzilla had the legendary release and it became popular, with a wider audience in the United States because of that. And so it's like, but some of us were all Godzilla fans before it was cool, right? So, right. But whatever, I'm not going to fault anyone here, but, so growing up, it was like, I was into the music, I was into the, collecting, but it was collecting. In my case, it was home video collecting. There wasn't a lot of toys to collect when I was a kid. I had my, the Imperial Godzilla, things like that. That's about all I had growing up. And just every once in a while, a game would come out or, a book or whatever like that. So, but, I just kind of kept up with that and seeing what was happening in Japan, waiting on these, tapes to become available in the US. And it took forever before they did. And then it took, the 98 film till we started getting more of this content, out on tape than DVD, that it was like, yeah, there's a lot more films. There's a lot more content. And then, it seemed like that 98 film, say what you will, it did bring an audience to Godzilla. And then it started bringing, the Sony home videos out of what was happening in Japan. So that one, I can credit it for. But yeah, there was just not a lot of kaiju content, especially in the 90s. There was this big section of of time that just nothing was happening. And it was like, so it wasn't really, popular to be a Godzilla fan, but I always kept going back to rewatch my classics. And so, going into, to the channel, the YouTube channel, I'd always had in the back of my mind, since probably I started getting into video broadcasting in high school and then into college, of doing something that was, something that had to do with giant monsters, because I was always a big fan of doing my own movie. It was not going to happen. I don't know the first thing. I shouldn't say the first thing, but I don't know all the steps into making a full-length movie with all the visual effects that go into it. But I was interested in telling the story and talking to other fans, and it kind of the early content creators, Cinemassacre, Nostalgia Critic, some of those guys that were on the Channel Awesome, website before YouTube was Blip TV. They used a lot of that, and there was a lot of other video content creation that was out there. Now it's kind of all YouTube. They bought out all of the competition, and so now it's all available here on YouTube. But I was like, I want to do something, and I didn't know how to start. And so when I became a teacher at my old high school, and we had a video production course that I was teaching, I wanted to start it because I had all my students starting their own shows, and they could publish them to YouTube if they wanted to. But we also had a broadcast channel. So it was a case of they wanted to do video game reviews, they want to do sports shows, they want to do game shows, they want to do music shows. And it's like, that's great, this is great content you're churning out, it's on cable, go ahead and switch it over and turn it into your YouTube channel. And after you graduate, you could keep that YouTube channel, you could keep that content, and if you want to keep doing it, that's great. I don't know if any of them did, because I was let go in 2016 from that position. It was, nothing I did. It was 6 of us had to be let go. 6 of us teachers had to be let go because of budget cuts. And so honestly, that was a blessing in disguise, because I was able to actually produce a lot more content as an independent filmmaker and video producer. So I, established a lot more in my own, home studio and I'm building a new one actually now. And it's like, so I'm kind of in the temporary one until that one gets built, but soon. So it was like, I wanted to get guests. I wanted to bring on people. I wanted to do skits like Nostalgia Critic was doing, like Cinemassacre, wanted to do video game reviews, but I was like, there's not a lot of content, and I'm not really a gamer, but I love the films and I love to review the films, and I didn't want to also limit myself to just Godzilla, so that's why I wanted to call it the Monster Report, and that's why I kind of picked that name. I also was jumping a little off of, at that time, was the Colbert Report. Before it was Stephen Colbert's show. It was the Colbert Report off a spinoff of The Daily Show. And I always liked him. I like him then. I don't really care for him now, but I liked him then. And so I was like, the Monster Report. And it can't be just limited to Godzilla in that sort of way, because I'm also a fan of a lot of other, Pulgasari, Gappa, Gorgo, Gamera, all of these other non-Godzilla monsters, King Kong, and there's other American and British monsters, the giant behemoth, all that Ray Harryhausen content, that's all monsters, and I love it all. So I was like, why don't I keep it wide? Always kind of coming back to Godzilla, and that's going to be kind of where the channel kind of circles around, but I also want to have the peripheral monsters featured in some way, any way that I can on this channel. So that's why you're going to see trailers for the Gremlins and even the Lord of the Rings. I mean, there's monsters in Lord of the Rings. I mean, watch it. There's plenty of them. Anything that has those entertaining creatures of film history. That is my tagline to my show. It's highlighting those entertaining creatures of film history, because I wanted to be able to show, and it's monsters of all kinds, and feature them in one way or the other. So that's why the trailers, they'll never end, because there's tons of monster films out there. If I did them daily, I still wouldn't be able to do all the monster movies that are out there. So plenty of content to have.
Remy, he did Jaws as well, so check that one out.
Yeah.
God.
He got a lot of.
Nick, have you seen the Relic?
I have seen the Relic. That's one that I'm planning on doing.
Okay, thank you. I was about to say, you should do a trailer for the Relic, because that's like a very underrated movie. And I watched it, I think, like a few months ago. Really enjoyed it, actually. I really love the creature design in that movie.
Yeah, wasn't that Stan Winston?
Yeah, Stan Winston did the effects for that.
Yes,
the design looked really good. The animatronic looked good. But then the one problem I had with it, though, is that it was just a little too dark. I was like, what's going on? Like, somebody would die. I'm just like, what? I can't. I put this brightness up on my iPad. I'm like, wait. There we go. A really good movie, though. Yeah,
plenty of good underrated classics like Tremors. That. Yeah. I even did like Tremors. It's just like a great classic. People don't really talk about it.
3,000 Fathoms. Have you done a trailer for that yet at all?
Yeah, I've done a few Harryhausens, select few that I had copies of. So Beast, my favorite, 20 Million Miles to Earth, Jason and the Argonauts, and trying to think what else I've done.
Have you done Guanji?
Yes, I have done Guanji. And yes, can't get better than Cowboys and Dinosaurs.
Oh, heck yeah. Cowboys and Aliens is just dumb.
No.
You ask me that movie, I'm like, that movie's stupid. And they're just like, but you like dinosaurs and cowboys. I'm like, yeah, because that makes more sense. And it's better.
And today, actually, I think was the anniversary of It Came From Beneath the Sea.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. Oh, so wow. I did that trailer a while ago, but I kind of featured it recently just to kind of, remind people. Yeah, today was the anniversary of its release, 1955. So yeah, there's another great Ray Harryhausen classic that's out there. Love his work too. I mean,
like on the side of Willis O'Brien, Ray Harryhausen is probably one of my favorite, if not the best stop motion creature guy I know, who does like amazing stop motion all of his films, and he gives the creatures life it makes them actual characters and like the stars in the movie, which they should be.
Willis O'Brien was the pioneer. He was the man who really, from the Lost
King
World,
Kong, 1933.
Well, and even earlier than that, the Lost World.
World. That's right.
Yes.
And then what did he do?
Marshall said, "Oh man, channel awesome." Now he asked a really good question, Nick. So buckle up for this one. And then Remy has 2 more questions for you. Yeah, and then we'll wrap up. Marshall said, "What's your favorite trailer that you've cut?"
Okay. Well, actually, I did answer this earlier. Actually, it's The Host. The Host, 2006. Yeah, the Korean film, The Host. That's one of the ones that I just felt like it hit all the marks. It was. But honestly, that film is just so good that you could take almost any frame of that film and frame it as a piece of art because it's just so.
I'm excited to review it tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's a beautifully shot film. I also am a big fan of the new Dune that came out, and that's another one where it's just so well shot. You can take any frame of that and create your own trailer so easily because it's so well shot. Not that other films aren't well shot, but it's like when you're trying to put together a trailer, you really try to get those golden nuggets. But the host just had it.
Like the desktop kind of shots you want to get. You're like, you can use this for your computer.
That's right. And the way he shot that, it's just so well put together. He had it in mind to have each one of these shots be meaningful because you always kind of say, there's your second unit who shoots the filler kind of stuff, the dialogue scenes and whatever else. And the main director gets the really, dynamic shots. I could tell that there was no really thinking of a second unit kind of thing.
It was all just shots him behind the scene. It was like, no, I want to handle this.
He knew how he wanted it to look, the look of that film. So yeah, and Pacific Rim is another great one that was a fun one putting together in the trailer awesome. Because that one's just got so much.
I sent you that one, Remy.
Yeah, that's right. I gotta watch that. I didn't have time to watch it, but I will watch that one because Pacific Rim is like probably one of my favorite kaiju films outside of Godzilla franchise. Like I just love that movie to death.
Yeah, and I love to hear feedback on the trailers because I'd like to know what worked, what didn't work, and I'm not above criticism either because a few times I've been critical of my own stuff obviously and said that didn't really work.
Criticism is always good. It's never always a negative because on criticism you can build upon it and evolve from it and make something even better in the future. Like totally a lot of people get mad about criticism. Like no. Take it with a grain of salt. These people are trying to help you so that way you can perfect your craft and make it more exquisite and more entertaining in the future. That's all they're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a teacher, that was one of the things that I was trying to instill in my students is get some feedback. What worked, what didn't. You can watch something and it looks great, it looks perfect. And then someone comes in with that other perspective and they're like, yeah, but I was confused. Is this the way you were going or is this way you're going? Oh, I get it now. I see where you would come from. So maybe I'll work something a little different in there. And there's, a couple of times where it's like, this, the song I picked didn't really work. I try to listen to the songs. I don't want to give away all the trade secrets, but trying to find, the music that hits all the beats too. And when you think of a modern trailer, when you have Hans Zimmer doing the score for it, and he has the wah sounds that go on, and then the large bass hits that happen in there, and you're just like, okay, when I'm listening to some music that is royalty free and it's kind of built for a trailer, I'll start in my head thinking what shots really work with these beats. And coming from music background, a percussionist and guitarist, thinking of the downbeats of the song and where those fall. And I'm thinking about, at this time code, I want that to flash on screen, or I want that to fade on screen. I want that
dialogue moment in that particular spot of the song, or have the desktop shot in that part of the music as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when you think of even gaps in the song where there's a hold, and it's I really think that this line would work here. When they're doing the Two Towers trailer, and there was so many good lines that King Theoden said. How did it come to this? And I'm like, I'm hearing this song and I'm like, I can hear that line right in there. And I was like, can I make this work in that trailer? So that's why I would, think about how those downbeats, how those beats would actually fit with the song. And sometimes I'll have to go in and mix the song a little different because it's like, yeah, this is really stretched out. Maybe I could take, 8 bars from this and cut out 8 to get that ending so that it's maybe a 3-minute trailer instead of a 5-minute trailer, so
thinking what you envisioned from the beginning rather than like trying to fit what you had in mind for the trailer in the first place.
Yeah, and sometimes even, repeating. And so you might take a portion from the front end of the song and put it to the end. Or you might take 2 songs and be like, I like this for the beginning. Like in Gremlins, for instance, the beginning had a kind of just very haunting sort of somewhat charming, somewhat haunting kind of theme going on to it. And then it went into someone who actually I contacted and got permission to use their sort of fan remake of the Gremlins theme. It was kind of a more metal, a heavy metal sort of Gremlins theme that he had created. And he gave me permission to use that in the trailer. He didn't have to, but it was just like, I'm not probably going to make much revenue from this. Do you mind if I use it? I'll give you credit at the end. And that's all he wanted. So, those are the kinds of things that I'll look for in putting together, the trailers. Can I actually use either music that has been remade by somebody out there, not by the original, and occasionally I might use a Godzilla cue, like Godzilla versus Biollante. I'll use a Godzilla cue for when he came out of the volcano because it just really worked there, but very short amount of that as to 1, not get flagged, and to 2, make it a tribute to what the film was, but then get into what the music is trying to tell, a short story into those trailers to get you excited to see the film, because that's what a trailer is.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Awesome insight, Nick, by the way. I love it. Remy, go ahead. Remy's got 2 more questions for you, Nick, and then we'll wrap this thing up, man. I really enjoyed having you on.
Yeah, this was fun. It was glad. It was exciting to hear your thought processes, how you went about creating trailers. It's always cool to hear how content creators go through their process and what inspires them and what their thought process is when doing these activities. So it was really interesting to hear your points of view, Nick.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it
because taking time out of your day to join us for today.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad to answer a few more questions if you got them.
Yeah. So the next question I have for you is, outside of Godzilla, who is your favorite kaiju and why? Or favorite monster, kaiju/monster, and why?
There's so many. And there's the underrated side of things, and I'll go with that as my answer. Varan. Varan is a very underrated kaiju. Yeah. I've always really liked Varan. Actually, the first experience I had with knowing even who he was, it was in the video game Godzilla Monster of Monsters on the NES, and he was depicted very purple, and I was like, this is a cool looking monster, but I never heard of him because they also had Gezra and other kaiju that it was like, well, Godzilla actually never met these monsters, but they had to put some kaiju in that video game, to have some other monsters for him to fight.
Variety in there.
Yeah. So, he had that, and they got that, and Baragons in there, and it was like,
there you go, Remy.
Yeah. So it was like, but yeah, but I love the film Varan. It was, it's really well shot. I think it's such an interesting look to the kaiju, very unique. And I've always thought that idea that he's this lizard that flies, kind of a flying squirrel sort of thing, and I can't think of the lizards that actually have the flaps underneath their arms, what they're called, but that idea is such a cool concept, and seeing that there's been a few different versions of that. I actually have a little 8mm version that's a really a half an hour short cut version, silent 8mm version of the film, and it's really interesting how it is. I mean, it's done silent, so it's got the title cards for the dialogue in there. So, but yeah, and of course now we've got it in DVD, and then there's this Blu-ray. I think that recently came out. I've got to get that on order to see that film in beautiful 1080p sometime. But Varan's my favorite non-Godzilla.
Nice.
That's a great answer. Godzilla Train. He wanted to share this message with you, Mr. Nick. Thanks for the insight, Nick. Great stuff. Then we have Alex Allen. He's always here.
Hello.
How you doing, Alex? Got our man Nick Adam, the superhero name. Y'all should just subscribe to his channel just because he has a superhero name. Like Nick Adam is cool. Like it fits. Nick Adam. Who you just got done talking to? Nick Adam.
Yeah.
And then another question I have for you. Last question is, what is your favorite Godzilla game, and for what reason is that game your favorite?
Ooh.
Boy, gaming. There have been some real misses when it comes to Godzilla, and honestly, I am not a modern gamer, so I have not had the chance to play like the new Call of Duty Monarch, but I did a video on that with Baron. He got to show me a little of that, and they made some PlayStation, a PlayStation Godzilla game. Never played it.
Or Godzilla versus.
Yeah, I really go back honestly to the Godzilla Unleashed. Either on the Wii or the GameCube. Both versions of those actually.
Good, because they're the best Godzilla games.
Yeah, those are the best Godzilla games.
Fight me on it, people. Fight me. That's only my favorite game. Deal with it.
I got your back, Remy. I got your back, baby.
Good. Thank you, Donald.
It's an awesome game. It's an awesome one, yeah. Still play the Nintendo one, though, on the Wii. Got the Wii, what do you call it? So you could play the old NES games on the Wii. So I got the Monster of Monsters on that, but it's kind of tedious and it's long and it's it's a difficult game actually in some places, but I still enjoy it, just for the nostalgia.
What do you think about the other Godzilla Fightworks games like Save the Earth and Destroy All Monsters Melee?
Yeah, they're fine games. Yeah, and the action's good in them and everything like that. I always kind of come back to Unleashed, and so that's why I always, And then they made a Super NES one. It was really not well put together as a fighter game. They made
talking about Double Smash, or is that
what was it called?
Double Smash for the DS.
No, I'm talking about Super NES. It was called Super Godzilla.
Oh, that's right. I remember that game.
Yeah, and it was just not well put together. They made Godzilla 2 for the NES, which was more of a strategy game. Also very just tedious and not the fighter Godzilla game we really wanted. A better game was actually they made that Ultraman Towards the Future on the Super Nintendo, and it was actually a better fighter game than any of the other kaiju games that we had out there. So it was more like along the lines of a Street Fighter style kind of game. And so,
Dai Kaiju-sen or whatever I forgot the other name of it, but there were like two different versions of it.
Yeah, there was,
and then they were transferred over to America later on. They were like true fighter Godzilla games.
Were they on the Famicom or were they on the
exactly. I think that's what they were on.
Godzilla Trainton, I said same Nick, I need to find it. I missed
we
best Godzilla game.
We seriously need a MonsterVerse version of Godzilla Unleashed. I need that.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. But make it for like Xbox, all the new stuff. Like make it for that, and I would buy it in a heartbeat. I'm like, oh, I get to play as freaking Kong. I get to play as Mechagodzilla. I get to play as King Ghidorah. Give me that.
Yeah, I'll take that any day. Nick, I felt like our time with you went by too quick. It went by too fast. This was a really, really great conversation. Very, very insightful. Godzilla Train, Alex Allen, DJ Everett from the Godzilla Fan Freaks, Monster Sites. Wow, I think you guys for tuning in.
That was a surprise.
Yeah, that was a big surprise, and I'm grateful to have the support that we have and those that watch. We love to continue opening the door for new kaiju fans, older kaiju fans, and we just do this so we can connect with the world. And Nick, I definitely believe that you helped us do that tonight to even reach a bigger audience with your insight, with your storytelling, and what you do on your YouTube channel. So for those who are tuned in, Nick, go ahead and let everyone know and tell everyone how they can find you on each of your platforms.
Yeah.
Okay. That'd be great. Yeah. It's on Facebook. Definitely search for The Monster Report. Like that. It's at The Monster Report. All one word with one R. So Monster Report with not two R's, but one R at The Monster Report. But if you do a search for Monster Report on Twitter, I'm sure you'll find me. YouTube.com/Monster Report. Same way with one R. And my website, www.monsterreport.com, one R as well. And so, so between the website, YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter is how you can find me and subscribe. I've done a little bit of podcasting for the audio version, but I haven't kept up with it that much. So, but all the content you'll find on YouTube and on themonsterreport.com. And as I'm just going to continue making box days, unboxing figure reviews, the interviews, live shows, trailers, and just anything that has to do with the world of kaiju, and up for suggestions ever, and up for guests. If anyone's interested, especially if you're interested in promoting something. I'm always a fan of kaiju content creators, and so I'd love to help someone who's getting started, because and that's why I brought you on, Don. It's like you've had this channel while I've been doing this since 2014, so I always like to help out, because I was there too when I first started, where it was like getting your name out there and trying to build an audience, and it was something I really had to kind of build on my own, but I had some help, and I appreciate all the help that was out there. Very inspired by the Kaiju cast that was on years ago on podcast. Now he does what's called Collect All Monsters, which is a great show too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Collect All Monsters is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kyle Yunt's awesome. Yeah, he's been on the show years ago. Yep. They all were great. And of course, meeting them at G-Fest was awesome. Got some interviews and did some stuff with them. And so, there's been some support along the ways, and I really appreciate all that support that has come along. But it was just I love bringing on people like Don here, and you guys on the shows. And last night, talking to who was I talking? Jonathan Cressetti, and we were talking with about Seismic, and he's working with them. Not too long ago. I think he's maybe in the chat. Cal, the Kaiju guy, another great YouTuber out there, and Oh My Godzilla, another great YouTuber out there. Trying to help them out, because again, I was there. I've had some success, so I'm like, I'd love to give back. I'd love to see what other kaiju content creators and artists. They don't have to be YouTubers like us. Right. They could be artists. They can be comic book artists. They could be toy makers. Musicians, anything that I can relate back to monsters. Love to talk with them, talk with the Godzilla novelization project. He's actually writing up novels of the classic kaiju films, the classic Godzilla series films, making novelizations, and it's something you can see for free. So shout out to him, and seeing what else people have out there. It's just, it just adds to the flavor of what we've got in the kaiju universe here, and sharing the love for the big G and for all things monsters. And I can't get enough of it. There's just so much to take in. So but I thank you guys so much for the time and the promotion too. So I'm looking forward to seeing any new fans and comments and likes and subscriptions, obviously, and hitting that notification bell, all those great things that you do, and trying to get up to that 100K, because we're getting close to the 90K.
Getting really close. And here's a collab for you, Nick, Godzilla Train. If you're up, Nick, I'd love to have you on our show. And Nick, I'm telling you, man, you will have a blast with their crew. I've been on a few of their shows, man. They're fun. They're honest. You can be very open. And I mean, it's just great kaiju content. And it's just like family. We get to discuss what we like and what we want to talk about. So that would be an awesome collab. And I would definitely be tuned in for that.
Absolutely. Shoot me a DM. Yeah, I'd be glad to.
Yeah.
All right. We are the Godzilla Nerds. I am Donald.
I'm Remy.
We had our man Nick Adam with the superhero name. And Nick, stay in this chat. And we're about to log out. Peace.
All right. Later, Nick. Nice seeing you.
See you guys.